In Taiwan, the ruling party candidate Lai Ching-te has won the presidential election, giving his party, the DPP, an unprecedented third term. Lai secured just over 40% of the vote, ahead of his nearest rival in the opposition KMT. China claims Taiwan as its territory and, in the run-up to the election, called Lai a dangerous separatist. The US, Germany and France are among the countries who have congratulated Taiwan on its successful election.
Now let us welcome our next president and vice president, Lai Ching-te and Xiao Meiqing.
The election is over. The winner has been declared, and people are moving on with their lives after the vote in Taiwan.
My hope is that there will be peace and cross-strait relations, that there will be no political or economic threats to this island.
The
Taiwanese public is actually not that nervous compared to the foreign media who think, oh, this is a scary place.
In Shanghai, in mainland China, some are hopeful too.
There might be a relatively rough period to maintain this status quo, but I think, because I have a few Taiwanese friends, that they increasingly want to go towards the mainland. I hope things will get better and better, and both sides can one day be together.
The United States congratulated the newly elected president in a press release, which didn't go down well in Beijing. China claims Taiwan as its own territory. China's foreign ministry says, the Taiwan question is China's internal affair. Whatever changes take place in Taiwan, the basic fact that there is only one China in the world and Taiwan is part of China will not change. In recent months, Beijing has regularly provoked Taiwan militarily. Analysts are keen to know what the new president's policy towards Beijing will be.
I think there will also likely going to be instability in cross-strait relations in the short term. Beijing will likely want to use further pressure, be a military gray zone maneuvers to ratchet tension, or economic sanctions against select Taiwanese exports to the Chinese market, or just further marginalization and critique of Taiwan in both bilateral and potentially multilateral settings, all as a way to exert further pressure against the next Taiwan government, and then also through that to set the terms of interaction for the next 4 years of cross-strait relations between Beijing and Taipei.
And just one day after the election, China once again quietly rattles its sabre. Beijing publishes these undated pictures of a military exercise.
Appreciate that. To discuss this further, I'm joined now by Abigael Vasselier. She heads the Foreign Relations team at the Mercator Institute for China Studies and joins us today from Berlin. Abigail, what do you make of China's reaction to Lai's win?
I think as of today, the reaction of the Chinese has been pretty consistent with the past elections in Taiwan in 2016 and in 2020, when the DPP won the election, a similar reaction was observed. So, I mean, the Chinese are consistent, reaffirming their position, but also highlighting the fact that the process of reunification has started for them. And in the last image of the reportage that you show, we could already see a sense that there will be an escalation of tension at some point, and that we should be prepared for that. But at this point in time, 48 hours after the election, the reaction has been pretty mild.
And, of course, a big player in the China-Taiwan story is the United States. The U.S. congratulated the newly elected president and sparking China's ire, even though the United States has said they don't support Taiwan's independence. So why is Beijing annoyed?
Beijing is annoyed because Beijing and Washington do not share the same vision of where Taiwan is going. For the Chinese, the statement is clear. You just need to listen to their leader. There will be reunification. There will be reunification at all costs and with all means. This is on its way. For the United States, the position is that they want to maintain the status quo in the strait, in the Taiwan Taiwan Strait, and they want to maintain the position of Taiwan as it stands right now. And the US and a number of allies have made clear that they would not accept the use of force for reunification purposes, and that any change of the status quo through force would not be acceptable. So despite the fact that the US has provided China with reassurances that they do not support independence, and the position of the American is very clear and very well known by China, they will react in case of the use of force in the Taiwan Strait to change the status quo.
And Abigail, if I could just ask you a brief final question. Aside from China, what challenges does the government have to face?
The DPP, one thing you need to know is that the DPP won the presidential election for a third term, but it's a minority now in the parliament, so they will have to work with others. And I think that's the first challenge that the current president is facing. He has a pretty wide agenda ahead of him, being on dealing with the housing crisis that they have in Taiwan, the energy, where he has said that the DPP want to eliminate nuclear energy from Taiwan nuclear mix, but a highly dependent island, as you can imagine. So he has domestic challenges ahead of him and not a parliament that will vote all his bills.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We're running out of airtime. We'll talk to you again soon. Abigael Vasselier, thanks so much.
Thank you.